Today's episode is packed with so many hot topics. We will start first with the main topic these days, which is recession. Recession is hitting 22 states already. I did not say that. This is what Moody's analyst Mark Zandi said. Also, we saw the market drop in the past week. I will cover this topic in details. Also, a billionaire investor and hedge fund manager, Paul Tudor, said that the stock market is set for a powerful surge before a crash. I will also put what they say in a reality check, and I will tell you the reality that the media isn't telling you, and I will give you my honest opinion. But before I start, please hit the like button as it will help the channel a lot. So let's start. So Mark Zandi, who is the chief economist at Moody's Analytics, said that recession is already hitting 22 states. And by the way, Moody's Analytics is part of Moody's Corporation. And for those of you who don't know what Moody's Corporation is, it is the most powerful company in the US because it grades bonds and debts with grades like AAA, BBB, and so on. Moody has the capability to destroy companies in an indirect way. For example, back in 2019, a company called Pacific Gas and Electric Company was downgraded to junk by Moody's in January 2019. The impact was significant for the company because now there's no one will lend the company money because Moody's rating works as a grade of trust. The bank that you ask to lend you money will look at your Moody's grade and will say, what guarantees me that you will pay me back? If you want to borrow, that's okay, but because you have a terrible rating, I have to increase the borrowing cost to guarantee that I get more money. And that's what happened to this company. And not to mention that investors lost trust too because Moody's big deal. The result was the company filed for bankruptcy this next month. And this is only one example. There are so many companies that ended up the same way. So Moody is a big deal. So Moody's analyst Zandi said that 22 states are now experiencing an economic weakness and job losses that are likely to continue. Also, 13 other states are about to follow the 22 and enter a recession. Zandi also said that the economy is still not in a recession, but the risks are very high. We are on the precipice. He said this in an interview with MarketWatch. Zandi based his recession claim on the same factors that the National Bureau of Economics of Research use to determine a recession, but he applied these factors on each state, where the National Bureau of Economics applies it on the United States as a country. These factors are employment, personal income trends, industrial production, housing market activity, and loans. These are the main thing. Here's my opinion. Here's what I think about the whole situation. I think that Zandi is right because he used the same factors that is used by the National Bureau of Economics, but to determine whether the US is in a recession or not, but instead he applied it on each state and determined which state is in a recession and which is not. However, I do not see this as alarming because economic data can change or get revised later. Another reason why I don't see it alarming is because the reason why we are right now in a slowdown, it is all man-made, which is tariffs and high interest rate. If all goes south, Federal Reserve will lower interest rate and Trump can postpone or cancel tariffs. Recession is alarming when the cause is something out of reach, like for example COVID or dot-com bubble. That's when getting out of this situation is not as easy as when it's man-made, and it will take time. Like we have witnessed the dot-com bubble or the housing crash or even COVID. It took a long time. Nobody knew when the lockdown is going to end. Nobody knew when we're going to find a remedy to the disease. That's when it will take time. But with these situations, everything is man-made, and I think it's not as alarming. It is alarming, but not as alarming. But why the billionaire investor and hedge fund manager Paul Tudor said that the market is set for a powerful surge before a market crash? And are we in the beginning of the crash that he warned about? Paul also said that we are in a dot-com bubble scenario with what's going on with AI. Well, my opinion is that I don't agree with what he said. Yes, I agree with Mark Zandi about what he said about the recession study that he made for each state, but now I do not agree with Paul Tudor. First of all, our current situation is not the same as the dot-com bubble, because once you look at the details of dot-com bubble and you dig deep, you will find many companies were valued based on numbers, which is the websites, based on number of visitors and eyeballs, not on how much cash they generate. That's why you get an overvalued company or website. With AI companies like Nvidia, for example, you can clearly see that all companies are generating lots of cash. I've heard the same thing back in 2015, 2016, when the market was led by tech giants like Google and Amazon and Meta, which was named Facebook back then. I still remember back in 2015 and 16, all people said that we are in a dot-com bubble, and dot-com bubble is happening again, but with tech companies. And guess what? Nothing happened, because these companies are generating lots of cash, not just evaluated based on website visits and eyeballs. Imagine you believe those guys and you stayed away from the market. You would have lost tons of opportunities. You would have lost Amazon, you would have lost Google, you would have lost Meta. All these companies doubled in price, while some people feared and stayed away from the market. After a few years, you see those people that warned you, they entered the market and they made a lot of money. Not only that, but those people started saying that Apple and Microsoft are safe companies. They said it to the investors or their clients. So always do not listen to everyone, but do your own research. However, I do agree with Paul with one thing only, which is one point. We might have a correction or a small crash, because this is the cycle of the stock market. Things don't always go up. It will eventually go down for a correction, but this is always going to be temporarily. This, like what happened this year in tariff also back in 2022 with the minor crash, or even COVID time. Things got up real quick, and some of them were actually V-shaped rally, like the one in 2022, the minor crash, for example. If you want to know what the top Wall Street hedge fund managers predict about the market in the next year, watch this video.